she said that she had sex with my little black car and they had a baby. And I felt very astounded about it.
She told you before that when you were sitting in the car with your friend, when y'all left from the Riverwalk.
No, that's not true, and you got her pregnant.
Yes, it is. It's true, Your Honor.
He examining a pineapple or something at the grocery store, looking at it in the light and turning it upside down. Is that how you did the baby, Mr. Jaleel?
It wasn't that physical, but I mean, I gave him a good look over.
Do you end up sleeping with your best friend's girl?
He told me to do it.
Away.
He told me specifically in his house, yo, I don't care about her. I have another girlfriend. He just sat there and lied.
Can you believe what just unfolded? Ms. Tucker steps into the courtroom with a bombshell claim that Mr. Hunter might actually be her biological father, a secret kept under wraps by her mother until a decade ago. As she lays down the challenge to prove her paternity, Mr. Hunter confesses his doubts about being her dad due to the distance he's kept. But folks, buckle up because the revelations are just starting to heat up.
Miss Tucker, you believed another man was your dad until a bomb was dropped on you 10 years ago when your mother admitted that the defendant is your biological father. Prove to Mr. Hunter that he is your dad.
This next bit is absolutely bonkers. As the court listens intently, Ms. Tucker pours her heart out, explaining her years of identity struggles and her attempts at resolving them through DNA tests that Mr. Hunter skipped. Her tale of emotional chaos paints a vivid picture of a life overshadowed by uncertainty. And guess what? The emotional roller coaster doesn't stop here.
You admit you have distanced yourself from the plaintiff because you have serious doubts you are her father. Miss Tucker, you admit you initially lied to your daughter, but claim you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he is her father.
Here's where it gets spicy. Adrian, Ms. Tucker's mother, finally admits to fabricating the story about her daughter's paternity, but claims that both she and Mr. Hunter were in on the true story all along. The court is left navigating a tangled mess of lies and half-truths that have cast long shadows over Ms. Tucker's life. And just when you think you've heard it all, the plot thickens even more.
I wanted to find out who her father really is also.
You don't believe you are?
Well, I had doubts because her mother told me that I wasn't 30 years ago, so.
Mom, Miss Tucker, you hear your daughter speak?
Yes, Your Honor.
You say you and Mr. Hunter have always known that he was her biological father.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there something you haven't told your daughter?
I told her that someone else was her father at the time. In order to protect her, I felt like Mr. Hunter was not a good role model.
You won't see this twist coming. During a seemingly mundane trip to the store, Ms. Tucker bumps into a family friend who drops a name she's never heard before, throwing Mr. Hunter right into the middle of her already chaotic paternity saga. As Ms. Tucker grapples with this new potential lead, the story dives deeper into a labyrinth of family secrets. Up next, Mr. Hunter takes the stage, and you won't believe what he has to say.
I was in the 7th grade. Where we're from is very small, so I was at a store, and there's a woman who knows them both, and she told me, she said, you look just like your dad. Naturally, I'm thinking she's talking about the other gentleman. So I go, oh, you know my dad? And I said his name, and she goes, that's not your dad. That's when she said Mr. Hunter's name, and that was the first I have ever heard of him. So I went home, and I did tell my mom what there, but my mom just said she was lying.
Hang on to your seats. Mr. Hunter's backstory is a doozy, reflecting on his past relationship with Adrian. He shares how he was led to believe he wasn't the father of her child, prompting him to steer clear for years. His return to North Carolina is fueled by swirling rumors of his paternity, which he had initially dismissed. Just when you think you've caught your breath, another curveball is about to be thrown.
You were dating exclusively? You were boyfriend and girlfriend, or just?
Yeah, for a short while. But when she told me she was pregnant, she said the baby wasn't mine. I left and I got my life together. 15, 16 years, I came back to North Carolina hearing rumors that she was mine. So what am I supposed to do when someone tells me I'm not the father?
I was in middle school, and the young woman that is like his daughter, I guess he was there to pick her up, and they called me out of class. This was the first day I ever saw him.
Get ready for a jaw dropper. The courtroom is thrown for a loop when it comes out that Mr. Hunter had a fling with Adrian's sister, adding a scandalous layer to the already complex narrative. This bombshell revelation reshapes the entire dynamic of the case, making everyone question what they know. Stay tuned, because the next revelation is a real showstopper.
How are you the only one that don't know?
Did it have something to do with another situation that we were in? She was
What
mad
situation?
About?
We here now. I mean, I could see the look on your face right now. I know it's got to be something else. What's the situation?
Well, I had met a young lady, and come to find out it was Adrian's sister. And I thought that about that.
So you slept with her sister?
Prepare for the unexpected. The DNA test results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by the court. Mr. Hunter, you are not the father. I'm sorry, Adriana.
It's okay.
Ms. Nesbitt and Mr. Henderson are at the center of today's drama. Ms. Nesbitt is here to prove that Mr. Henderson is indeed the father of her 7-month-old daughter, Zion. She's fired up and ready for him to take responsibility once the results are in. Buckle up, Mr. Henderson's response is just around the corner.
Ms. Nesbitt, you are suing to prove to Mr. Henderson that he is the father of your 7-month-old daughter, Zion. You say that when the results prove you right, you expect Mr. Henderson to step up.
This next bit is a doozy. Mr. Henderson throws a curveball by expressing his doubts about being Zion's dad, blaming Ms. Nesbitt's close encounters with the neighbor during the crucial conception period. He's convinced he's not the father and has barely lifted a finger for Zion because of these doubts. Hang tight, the plot thickens from here.
Mr. Henderson, you claim your case is simple. You say Ms. Nesbitt cheated on you with her neighbor during the window of conception. He is Zion's biological father. So, Ms. Nesbitt, what has Mr. Henderson done so far for Zion?
Well, he buy her diapers, that's about it. He doesn't do anything for my child, but buy her diapers. He does more for my 2-year-old son that he knows that's not his, than his own daughter.
Now, here's a plot twist for you. Out of the blue, we learn Mr. Henderson secretly went behind Ms. Nesbitt's back to sign the birth certificate, despite her explicit doubts about his paternity. It was a sneaky move aimed at staking his claim, possibly before even he was sure about the facts. Keep your eyes peeled. The courtroom's about to heat up with reactions.
You know the baby yours.
Yes, I did because
He did what, Ms. Nesbitt?
I went downstairs to go get my birth certificate. His name was on there. I told him not to put his name on there because I had doubts beginning, but he snuck anyways and signed his name on there.
You had asked him previously not to sign it because you had doubts yourself.
Yes, Your Honor.
Wait till you get a load of this. Delving deeper into the saga, the judge questions Mr. Henderson's motives for signing the birth certificate under such murky circumstances. He admits his actions were driven by a mix of emotion and a desperate grab for paternal rights, a real soap opera move. The upcoming testimony will throw you for a loop.
Do you remember having the conversation with Ms. Nesbitt that said, don't sign it just yet because it may not be yours?
Yes, Your Honor.
You remember that conversation, and you signed it anyway.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, he even lied to his father and told him that he got a DNA at the hospital when he didn't.
Why would you tell your dad you had a DNA test and you didn't?
Because I didn't want him all in my business.
Oh, Your Honor, that's a lie. He told me that he signed the birth certificate so he can have rights of the baby, so he can get custody of the baby.
Can you feel the tension in the air? Ms. Nesbitt unveils the roots of her suspicions, which involve Mr. Henderson's past fling with his own cousin, stirring up a storm of vulnerability and betrayal. This emotional turmoil led her straight into the arms and apartment of Mr. Brown, the neighbor, for a one-off night that started with a comforting hug and escalated quickly. Don't go anywhere. It's about to get even more entangled.
Well, let me tell you how it all began. He had sex with his cousin, and I felt very vulnerable about it. And
Yes, I did, but that was before her. She already knew about that.
yes, let me tell you how it all.
Proceed.
You know, I received the inbox telling me she said that she had sex with my little black car and they had a baby, and I felt very astounded about it.
She told you before that when you was sitting in the car with your friend, when y'all left from the Riverwalk.
No, that's not true, and you got her
Yes,
pregnant.
it is. It's true, Your Honor.
Things are getting spicy now. Mr. Brown steps into the courtroom to give his side of the story. He confirms the one-night stand with Ms. Nesbitt, but insists it was just a fleeting moment of weakness. Their ongoing flirty texts, however, suggest it might not have been as straightforward as he claims. Strap in. His testimony is stirring the pot big time.
So at this time, the court would like to call Mr. Brown. Jerome, would you please escort Mr. Brown into the courtroom? I'd like to hear from him.
Come on.
Thank you for joining us today. Mr. Brown, we're here, of course, discussing the paternity as it relates to baby Zion. Tell me a little bit about your relationship with Ms. Nesbitt.
I first met her, she had moved in my apartment, been a couple doors down. I used to always flirt with her, to blink an eye at her, you know what I'm saying? Cause she was a cute girl, you know? She was
He was a nice friend, that's about it.
You won't see this coming. Mr. Brown recounts that fateful night, starting with a comforting shoulder and ending in a full-blown scandal. He thought he was being a good neighbor by offering a massage, but things went 0 to 60 before the night was over. Ms. Nesbitt later drops the bombshell that the condom broke, which really complicates the narrative. The courtroom's about to explode with reactions. Watch out.
At this point, you've been honest with both men.
Yes.
And they both know they are potential fathers.
Yes, Your Honor.
Baby Zion is born, and who steps up to the plate for her?
I stepped up to the plate for her, Your Honor.
It ain't my baby, so I ain't stepping up to no place.
So, Mr. Brown, you said it's not your...
I had a condom on, and look at her. She looked just like him. She a beautiful baby. She looked just like him, you know what I'm saying?
Get ready for the climax. The atmosphere is electric as everyone braces for the DNA results. The stakes are high, emotions are running wild, and both men are on edge, each hoping for a different outcome that could change their lives forever. The big reveal is just moments away, and it's going to be a jaw-dropper.
You've admitted that. That's why this courtroom exists. And some mothers come in here and they will say, and Jerome can attest to this, no, I know for certain it was nobody else. You came into court and said, look, I have a dilemma. I did sleep with 2 men during the window of conception, and I need an answer, and I have those answers for you. Are you ready for the results?
Yes.
Your Honor.
All right,
Yes.
throw in the envelope, please.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The results are in, and the DNA test shows
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Brown, you are not her father.
Oh, hey,
Okay, sit down, Mr. Brown. Calm down. Mr. Henderson, you are her father.
Told you was her father from the beginning.
Can you believe what just popped off? Miss Tillis throws a curveball by accusing Mr. Jellick of fathering her 2-month-old son, Jadance, and then skipping out, leaving them in financial ruin. She's pinning her hopes on today's DNA test to prove that Jellick is indeed the dad. Mr. Jellick, however, is adamant he's not the father, backing his claim with what he calls solid medical evidence. Strap in, because the courtroom drama is about to heat up even more.
You claim the defendant got you pregnant and now refuses to do anything for your 2-month-old son, Jadance, leaving you in financial distress. You claim today's DNA test will prove that he is Jadance's father. Mr. Jellick, you say you are 100% certain you are not her child's biological father.
This segment hits right in the feels. Miss Tillis opens up about the hefty emotional and financial burdens she's been shouldering since Jadance arrived. She paints a picture of a total lack of support from Mr. Jellick from day one, highlighting her solo struggle to stay afloat while out of work. The judge offers a sympathetic ear, acknowledging how tough it is to juggle postpartum challenges and a tight budget. The revelations get even juicier in the next bit.
He has done nothing for my child.
Nothing?
Nothing at all.
Not a dollar?
Not a dollar.
Tell the court what that has been like.
Struggling. I have to do it all by myself. I'm not working right now.
So precious. Miss Tillis, I know this has been difficult. I can only imagine. I'm a mother. 2 months in, you are still dealing with postpartum issues.
Here's where the backstory gets spicy. We dive into the roller coaster history between Miss Tillis and Mr. Jellick. They first crossed paths in college, sparking a casual relationship centered around hair braiding that eventually led to them living together. Mr. Jellick describes their dynamic as a situationship, providing room and board while she handled his hair, but insists it was nothing serious. Buckle up, because their past connection is about to stir up a storm.
Basically, we had a conversation, and like I told her, I refused to take up the next man's slack for a child that's not mine. We wasn't even having relations when she got pregnant.
What was the nature of your relationship?
We were having sex because we got history.
What's the history?
When I moved to Oklahoma City from my home state, I was going to college for my associates in business where I met Miss Tillis.
Things are getting heated now. As the court delves deeper, conflicts in their relationship start to surface. Miss Tillis accuses Mr. Jellick of being overly jealous and controlling, an accusation he counters by bringing up her ongoing contacts with an ex. This back and forth casts doubts on their relationship's exclusivity during Jadance's conception period. Wait till you see how this tangled web unravels further.
I pay all bills, I pay all rent. You do my hair, so you can't trip on what company comes through my front door.
No, Your Honor.
That's the situation.
This is a first. This is a first. Jerome, I've never heard of this.
Me either.
In-house braider.
Brand new.
With benefits. Something to me is not adding up. So you move in. Do you think this is your boyfriend when you move in?
He made me feel like I was his woman.
You won't believe this twist. Attention shifts to the murky timeline of Jadance's conception. Miss Tillis lays out a timeline that suggests some overlapping romantic entanglements with Mr. Jellick and another man, leading to a heated debate about the reliability of the birth control used during these encounters. This doubt about paternity sets the stage for a deep dive into genetic markers.
Can I show you my pregnancy timeline?
Oh, you brought some evidence. Yes, please step up. I want to get this story.
This is the conception date that the sonogram lady gave me. Me and Mr. Jellick messed around in October.
More like early September.
No,
this around the time she got
it
a
was
car.
in the middle. It was in the middle of October.
Work with
the
home
end of
health.
October, I messed with the other man.
Wait, say that again.
The middle of October, I messed with him without protection.
Do you agree with that,
Mr.
Mr.
End of
Jellick?
October,
No.
it was the other man.
Now, here's a genetic curveball for you. Mr. Jellick introduces a unique physical trait argument, noting that a specific feature, preauricular sinus, prevalent in his family, is conspicuously absent in Jadance. He argues that this lack of familial trait indicates he's likely not the dad. But hold your horses. An expert's about to throw a wrench into this theory.
Went to the hospital when he was like 3 days old. She called me, and I went out there and I looked at him and I picked him up, looked at him.
Yeah, he was looking at my baby like,
You know,
examining my baby in the light.
But the first thing I'm looking for is our trait. I don't see it.
He
Not
examining
shape,
a
not-
pineapple or something at the grocery store,
Exactly.
looking at it in the light and turning it upside down. Is that how you did the baby,
Not-
Mr.
it's
Jellick?
not- it wasn't that physical, but I mean, I gave him a good look over.
Just when you think it couldn't get more tangled, enter Dr. Samantha Brown Parks, who sheds light on the genetic inheritance of the preauricular sinus. She explains that while it is a dominant trait, each child has only a 50% chance of inheriting it, meaning Mr. Jellick's argument might not hold as much water as he thought. The stakes are high, and the courtroom is buzzing with anticipation as we edge closer to the big reveal.
We are dealing with paternity question Mr. Jellick has concerning a physical condition he commonly called a wisdom hole, which he has presented evidence to this court. I've now learned it's called pre-auricular sinus.
Yes.
I know it's rare. Can you shed light on this and as to whether or not this is truly relevant in this paternity question?
So a pre-auricular sinus is a small hole or opening that's a birth defect. It happens in less than 1% of the population and traditionally is inherited.
Brace yourself for the grand finale. The courtroom is on edge as the DNA test results are finally unveiled.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Jalik, you are the father.
You won't believe what's up next. The tension in the room escalates quickly. Miss Nadeau opens up about her dilemma, revealing she slept with 2 lifelong best friends and is unsure which one is the father of her 2-year-old son, Cameron. This confession sets the stage for the emotional and complex revelations that follow. The uncertainty has significant emotional implications for all involved, especially since the men are close friends. Strap in, because this roller coaster is just starting to climb.
Ms. Nadeau, you confess you are caught in the middle of 2 lifelong best friends because you slept with them both and now have no idea which is 2-year-old Cameron's biological father.
Here's where it gets spicy. Mr. Santilli expresses his heartbreak, which began 2 years ago when Miss Nadeau disclosed her affair with his best friend on Christmas Eve. He is devastated by the possibility that his son might actually be his best friend's child. The audience reacts with murmurs, highlighting the shocking and painful nature of the revelation. Just wait, the tea is about to spill even more.
You admit it's taken you 2 years to mend your broken heart since Ms. Nadeau revealed to you on Christmas Eve she'd slept with your best friend. She then dropped the bomb that he may instead be your son's biological father. The best friend and second potential father, Mr. Zara, will be joining us momentarily.
Brace yourselves for some emotional turbulence. Everyone braces for more startling revelations. Miss Nadeau recounts the emotional circumstances under which the affair with Mr. Zara happened, including the death of a significant family member. She describes how grief and support from Mr. Zara led to their intimacy. This moment reveals the complex interplay of emotions and relationships at play, further complicated by Mr. Santilli's reaction to the unfolding events. If you thought that was intense, just wait until you see what's coming up.
He decided in a text message he was going to tell me that I was too good for him. We needed to break up, that I needed to focus on me. He was just going to bring me down. As much as I tried to stop him, he left anyways. So I continued to go and see his grandfather while he's in the nursing home getting sicker, starting to pass away. The day he passed away was the day his best friend told me that really he had broken up with me for the girl upstairs.
You're not going to believe this next bit. In a critical turn, Miss Nadeau and Mr. Zara acknowledged their relationship began the day Mr. Santilli's grandfather passed away. They went out for drinks after the funeral, which led to them sleeping together. This admission clarifies the timeline and deepens the emotional entanglement as it happened amid significant personal loss. And yes, there's more drama ahead. Keep your eyes peeled.
This is the best friend you ended up sleeping with. So how did that happen?
The day that he passed away, I was holding his hand, and Tom was standing, Mrs. Zara was standing behind me, and we both just took it hard. It's not easy to watch anybody pass away, never mind somebody you were so close to. So we went out afterwards and we had some drinks.
Just when you think you've seen it all, there's more. Mr. Zara is brought into the courtroom and immediately faces questions about his actions. He reveals that Mr. Santilli had expressed indifference towards Miss Nadeau, suggesting he didn't care if his best friend and his ex-girlfriend were together. This revelation introduces a new layer of complexity regarding loyalty and friendship. Buckle up, because the revelations are about to hit the fan.
Please escort him in the courtroom.
Sir, go ahead and take a seat for me.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Zara. Thank you for joining us today. I have to ask you, do you end up sleeping with your best friend's girl?
He told me to do it.
Away.
He told me specifically in his house, yo, I don't care about her. I have another girlfriend. He just sat there and lied.
Get ready for a deep dive into the feels. This moment is heart-wrenching. As the discussion unfolds, it becomes clear that there is a profound emotional conflict and a tangled web of relationships and responsibilities. Mr. Santilli discusses the emotional toll of potentially not being Cameron's father, expressing how deeply he's connected to the child. The personal stakes are high, and the emotional distress is palpable, illustrating the deep impact of the paternity uncertainty. The emotional climax is just around the corner, so don't go anywhere.
And he texted me and said that he wanted something to do with the baby, that he wanted to try to be together for.
During the birth of the child, which one was with you?
I was there. Here's a picture of me in the hospital the day he was born.
Jerome, let me see that picture.
I cut the umbilical cord. I signed the birth certificate.
This looks like a beautiful, happy day.
It was.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. The climactic moment arrives as Judge Lake reads the DNA test results.
It has been determined by this court that Cameron's biological father is Mr. Santilli.